If you thought the Scammers episode was spicy, buckle up, guys. Tonight, we're diving into the wild west of vending ethics. From renaming strains like their craft beers to selling genetics that may or may not be what's on the label, the mushroom marketplace right now is full of controversy. Three legends, Dave Wombat, the Midichees, and Whitebeard, are here to break it all down. Get ready for a deep dive into the do's, don'ts, and the downright questionable of the myco world. Yo, welcome to the MycoGeeky podcast, where we explore the fascinating world of mushrooms and the people who love them. From expert cultivators to passionate foragers, we bring you deep conversations, cutting-edge insights, and everything mycology. Whether you're a seasoned mycophile or just curious, we invite you to geek out with us on the wonders of fungi and join the mushroom movement. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the MycoGeeky podcast. The show where buying spores from a shady vendor is kind of like online dating. If the profile pic looks too good to be true, it probably is. I'm your host, MycoGeeky, here to help you dig deeper into the world of mushrooms and cultivation so you can take your at-home mushroom cultivation game from the spore print says it's a Yeti PE crossed with Jedi Mindhole OG Supreme Reaver ISO Extended Cut to, wait a minute, this name is complete nonsense. Let me check the lineage before I buy stuff like this. We got an epic show for you tonight, so grab your lab coat or your favorite hoodie and let's get growing. Tonight, we're diving back into one of the most important discussions in the myco community, the ethics of vending mushroom genetics. And we've got three legends weighing in: Dave Wombat, Raymond and Maya Midichee, and my good friend Whitebeard. First up is Dave Wombat, from an episode originally aired on January 2nd, 2023. This conversation takes us deep into the murky waters of renaming genetics, stabilizing strains before selling them, and the transparency or lack thereof in the mushroom vending world. With literally decades of experience as a cultivator, breeder, and vendor, Dave brings a unique perspective shaped by his background in restaurant management, military service, and of course, at-home mycology. If you've ever questioned what makes an ethical vendor, Dave's got plenty to say. All right, but before we jump in, I got a big announcement. MycoGeeky.com is live. Yeah, I know, after 2 years of weekly episodes, I am just now getting around to establishing a website and setting up an email list. I mean, I might have memorized the entire chemical pathway from tryptophan to psilocybin, but, ask me to set up an email list, my brain goes full albino spore print. It's completely blank. When you got a wife, 3 kids, ADHD, procrastination, it isn't laziness. It's pretty much just prioritizing my chaos based on whatever sounds the funnest today. So, what's on MycoGeeky.com? Well, I'll be selling my merch, the Heat Geek 2.0 induction sterilizer that I've been making for almost 4 years, and rolling out grow guides, buyer's guides, and vetted vendor lists so you don't end up buying spores from some dude in a freaking gas station parking lot. I'll also be adding pages about the show, about our past guests, and whatever else I can think of that hopefully won't get me demonetized. And here's the best part. Weekly giveaways, guys. That's right. If you are on the email list, you are automatically entered to win stuff literally every single week. All you got to do is sign up with your email. No complicated forms, no blood oaths, just free stuff for being a myco geek just like myself. So before you get distracted by identifying some random sidewalk mushroom, head over to mycogeeky.com, sign up, and get in on all the fun we're about to have over there. And of course, help keep the podcast going by supporting me on Patreon. It lets me bring you more deep dives into the fungal frontiers. Please hit subscribe, smash that like button, and let's get into it.
Okay. It's funny you mentioned the health profession as ethical, and I just recently had some surgical emergency surgery issues over the last couple of years, and some real problems, and medical professionals saved my life, like absolute heroes. That's the people that apply the medicine. Then you've got the insurance side of it, which is
unethical,
the opposite side of the ethics coin. Yeah. How we can rape people for the most amount of money and deny them services that they need, basically.
The worst day of your life. How can we squeeze the most money out of you?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. I'm actually paying off. I'm still working on paying off a lawsuit from some hospital bills before my surgery that insurance from my job denied.
Right.
So yeah, they catch up to you eventually. Well, my background professionally before the whole mycology thing, I did a lot of restaurant management.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like that provided a lot of the foundation for my idea of customer service. The customer's always right, and they're not. They're wrong just as much as anybody else is. Yeah. But as a business, you want to take care of them. Like, yeah, that's how you take care of people. You're gonna lose money on people that try to scam you for an extra freebie every now and then, but you'd rather lose that little 5 cents than burn a legitimate customer and hurt their feelings. So it's all about treating people how you want to be treated. But before I got into this whole restaurant thing, I was in the Army, and I experienced kind of mixed ethical things there. You have a lot of people like the soldiers on the ground firmly believe in what they're doing, but there's somebody up above them that's kind of selling your services for ulterior motives, and you're just out there following orders. So it's kind of weird, and I kind of saw like all of that. But so like you've got this whole mushroom thing, right? What's the biggest question, like ethical question? The one that I see the most is renaming other people's stuff to sell it, to make a buck.
It's a classic.
And that's just, I mean, I feel like there's some mixture in there. There's some people that are like brand new to mycology. They just dipped their toes into it. They've grown 2 or 3 grows. They're really excited about it.
They're excited.
And then suddenly they realize, hey, I can actually make some money. Like now I've got spores. So okay, so you've got somebody else's spores, but they're yours now because you grew them, right?
Right.
So the responsible thing to do is just to be transparent about the heritage of what you're working with. If you have, let's just say a golden teacher. I bought golden teacher from Bill or whoever, and I grow it, and it looks the same as Bill's golden teacher, but now it's my golden teacher, so I'm going to call it brass teacher.
Right.
It's a little shady, and then you put it up on your menu. You're like, look, I've got golden teacher and brass teacher. It's the same fucking thing, but it's an extra name that you can add to the list. And so like you see a lot of menus that are fluffed with like things that are really just kind of different expressions of the same thing that aren't going to repeat, but we just named them the first time they grew and didn't stabilize them over generations or whatever. We're just trying to have a thick menu, and then we offer you, hey, you get a discount if you buy 10. So now we've got like 30 things on the menu, and you can buy 30 things, and it's just sales. It's sales. And it's not exclusive to mushrooms. Like go to the grocery store. You've got a 12-pack of Dr. Pepper, and right next to it, you've got a 12-pack of Dr. John or whatever. They make their own. They just remake it and rename it. It's the same shit.
It is.
It's business, So there's like, I don't know.
When you think about, so Coke comes along, and then somebody else said, well, that's not fair. Coke gets all the, so we're going to be Pepsi. And
they could probably argue, if you did HPLC testing on it, that theirs is slightly different,
Yes.
But the same thing applies to the mushrooms, because like, okay, let's take Jack Frost, for example. I grow Jack Frost. I actually did 4 generations before I released it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't sell people the clone of the 4th generation. I sold them spores.
Right.
So every Jack Frost that left my care is actually the son of Jack Frost.
Right.
And it's slightly different. Like if you were to patent a genetic, you can say, hey, this exact genetic sequence is patented and nobody else can copy it. The second you grow from spores, that's changed.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's fuzzy, it's really fuzzy. But the most thing you want to do is you want to be responsible for your own like due diligence. You want to grow things multiple times to know that what you're giving the customer is going to be, at least you'll have some idea of what it's going to do. Yeah. That's the other thing I was going to bring up, is like, this was another complaint that I saw, is people receiving a culture and then immediately turning around and multiplying it on plates and selling it without ever growing it out and knowing what it's actually going to do. And that's another iffy vendor strategy. It's like, but something you'll see in the restaurant business or any business is quick money is usually short money. Like
Always.
you can jump in with some shady stuff and you can make some bucks and people are going to get pissed off and your name's going to be dirt. And then you can come back with a different profile name a couple weeks later and try to do something else. But but people remember, you know.
Yeah.
What do they always say when doing in the restaurants? They would always say like customers are much more likely to leave a negative review.
Oh, yeah.
If they go in and eat their food and are happy and go about their day, like they're not really thinking about it. But if you give them some crappy food, it's stuck in their head and they want to do something about it. So they're much more likely to say something negative than they are something positive. So I mean, and that sticks with you.
Yeah.
But you gotta be responsible, you know. Like here's another example. I've got stuff that I don't know what it is. I grew something, I mislabeled it. I don't know what the fuck it is. I can make up a new name for it, or I can be honest about it and say, hey, everybody, I don't know what this is. But look at it. It's kind of cool, you know? And after a couple generations, if it starts doing something repeatedly cool, then maybe I can name it, you know? But you don't want to just turn around and sell it right away because you still don't know. What if it was a tiny bit of bacteria in your tub that made it express funny? And then it's not actually the genetics that look that way. That's the whole it was always 5 generations has always been like the kind of like the community standard for stabilization. And you want at least 3 of those generations to be consistent back to back without significant change, without multiple morphologies in the same tub to be able to say that, okay, I think this is stabilized. Or you could.
Now, a thing that you always do though, and I think this is the counterpoint to, so when I talked to Myco Mama Angela, of course, she, like, her and Miss Mush both liken their isolations to their babies, right? So
Yeah,
they want it perfect before they release it to the public. And you have things that are that way that are very consistent, but then you also have stuff where you're like, I'm going to put this out here, but just so you know, you were probably the first vendor I ever saw describe something as wild or unpredictable, and like, hey, you work it, you're going to enjoy yourself, it's going to be a new experience, but it's definitely not stable.
well,
So
but I'm still being transparent.
Yeah, you're being transparent. That's the whole point.
And the unstable stuff is fun. A lot of people like playing with the unstable stuff. The old mindset was, I ordered this and it doesn't look like the picture. Why? You know, and people are mad. But now people are like, I grew this and 3 different things came up in the tub and it's exciting. You know, like it's fun.
All 3 things. Yes. Yeah. Well, so I'm hearing and agree 100% with you. You really can never go wrong with being very transparent.
That's well, yeah, being honest not only with other people but also with yourself.
Yes.
Like,
so, yeah, just being transparent. I get a Jack Frost from you. I get a swab set from you. So I germinate them, I grow them, I swab that fruit, and I say, hey, I'm selling Jack Frost spore swabs originally sourced from Dave Wombat. I've been transparent with what I'm doing, right?
well, you know, here's something funny. When I was putting together this website, I haven't been on a spore website in forever. I've actually only ever been to mushrooms.com is the only one I've ever bought from. I bought from them 25 years ago, another 12 years after that, and another 12 years after that. So I've been to a spore website like 3 times in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gone on there and looked a couple times, but I mean, I've only bought from one 3 times.
Right.
But I was looking at other websites because I was like, well, I need some ideas, you know, so I'm going to look at some other spore websites. Do you know that there's lots of places selling like Wombat Tat and Jack Frost?
Oh yeah.
Like it's everywhere. And
everywhere, dude.
And here's something that like is a big thing in the mushroom community is like, oh, they're selling my thing. Like, you know, that's mine. Well, it's only yours until you let go of it. And then it's out there. You know,
I mean, you got a kid, you know, they grow up, they turn into people. They're their own person.
They are their own person. Even from the time they're not grown up, they're their own person, you know, and that's something that's never bothered me as a creator is I always looked at it as a compliment. If I produced something that other people like, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Jack Frost being like probably the most popular thing I've created.
Yeah.
But if I was to get like $1 in royalties from every Jack Frost swab that everybody else sold, I wouldn't have had to open my own website.
You'd have a
I'd
lot
be
more
set,
free time
you
for
know?
sure.
I
Yes.
would.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's not about that, you know. It's you know, like you see a lot of that jealousy in the community. It's usually with people with like, it's like their first baby, like this is their first project, and it usually comes up as a situation with me and these two partners or this one partner. We're going to work on this together. I'm going to send you this. We're going to grow it out and compare it, and then next thing you know, partner B is already got it for sale on their spore list, and you're like, hey man, like that's not supposed to be out there yet, and you're collecting money on it. That's my money, and you were supposed to be my friend or whatever. And now so where does that fall in the ethical realm of things? Like that's are they really doing anything wrong, or is it just that your expectations were higher than they should have been?
Or maybe you had no formal business partnership that had no clear.
Well, then that's the thing, you know, this is kind of an underground industry. So it's like
not going to have that.
Honor amongst thieves, you know, it's like there is some kind of code, I guess, but it's mostly like snitches get stitches. That's about all. You know, so it's you've messed up, so now I'm going to shank you, and that's not a good way to live. You know, we're supposed to be all this love and light kind of thing. You know, we're happy mushroom people. Yeah. So if we could just be as adaptive as the mushrooms are, and work together as a colony like we're supposed to, like things would be better, I think.
Yeah. So I think I referenced this one other time, but old arts and crafts furniture, there was a company called Stickley, and they used to make some very popular furniture. They would also publish the blueprint, the 3D drawings of their furniture, and people.
So if you were crafty, you could just do it yourself.
And somebody interviewed the owner about, well, why on earth would you give away your actual 3D drawings of this furniture? And he was like, well, if some guy can't afford to buy our pretty expensive furniture, but he can build it, he's just giving us free advertising.
Yep.
He's just spread our brand a little bit further. And what a great thing we can do to also give somebody who can afford our product a chance to own our product.
Well, and this is something that I have noticed also doing this website searching, is that more websites are now mentioning the creator when they can. Where it used to be a lot of them like just had like, just here it is, and you can buy it, you know, without any kind of credit.
This is not so much about ethics, but a thing that I notice in this community is, and you're very good about this. The first time I received genetics from you, it's like, wow, this guy gave me an experience. I got some cool stickers. There was a card. Everything was unique and, had a lot of personality in it. And I was like, wow, this guy gets it. Like Missy Myco also did this, where she had a handwritten letter, and it was like, oh, he just gave me an experience. This is cool. And that's something that you're doing. And it takes time and energy and money to do all that stuff. And that's why anytime somebody asks me, oh, well, where should I get Jack Frost? Well, you should try to get it from Dave. Now, obviously, the website's going to make that a little bit easier.
Well, I don't have it on there yet, actually. I don't actually have any Jack Frost. I have a tiny bit. Like I'm working on building it back up.
Maybe you can get someone to sell you some.
Well, I stopped growing it because everybody already had it, so I didn't have to bother with it. But now people are asking for it again. But now that I've gotten back into growing it again, it's throwing different phenotypes. So now I'm like, well, wait a second, like maybe I can play with this and play with that and see what I can get out of it. But there's the website's going to be a good way to streamline, because I've always been notoriously hard to reach, just because I'm doing a million things and I'm not actually vending full time. You know, that's just like you happen to catch me when I'm looking at the screen and I see your message, then you might get to talk to me and get an order in. But the website automates that, you know.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've been trying to figure out in my head is, how do I translate my one-on-one communication experience into this new format where we're not having a conversation to do the sale anymore. Now it's automated. You're clicking a button and a package is going to get sent in the mail. So I ordered new packaging materials, and I've got all kinds of things to package with, and it's going to be new and it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same kind of packaging that I've been doing with the cards, because I have to do something that's more volume oriented.
That's repeatable. Yeah.
Like even just the idea of individually folding cards for each order is kind of mind-boggling with the website. Like I can't do it. So we're gonna switch to a different kind of packaging, but I still want to give it that personal touch. So I'm gonna be like, I told everybody on the website that packages are gonna start shipping on the 3rd. And that's because I'm not going to have my postage label printer until the 3rd. But I've got until then to come up with some new stickers to put in the orders, and it's going to be fun. I got stuff to do tomorrow.
That's great. You know, it just made me think. I'm like, of course he has the packaging dialed, because he used to work in a kitchen, right? He puts the garnish on.
Presentation, yeah,
the presentation, man. Yes. There's definitely some wisdom and something to be said, along with maybe talking about ethics. I think the work ethic is part of that as well. So I hope to be talking about, like you were saying, you know, if you're isolating something, 5 generations, ideally 3 consistent generations before you say, oh, well, okay, I can say this is what this is.
Well, now, and I often, even with like projects that I care about, you know, that I'm like seriously interested in, I often send out the earlier generation stuff as the bonus swabs with my order, just to get other people growing them. I don't tell them about them. I don't tell them what it is. I just throw something else in there. It's got a weird label on it, and they may grow it and like say, hey, you know, eventually I might see a post on Facebook like, hey, I got this swab and I grew this. And then I can be like, hey, that's this project and it looks good. And it's, you know, but that way I'm kind of crowdsourcing the verification for the 100%. Stabilization.
Yeah. I was just talking to Ed about that, because I think he's done like 10 net crosses, and he's scratching his head going, I can never work all these genetics. Like he goes,
well, no, because it's like mycelium. It branches. Work. It branches and multiplies.
Get it out there. Yes. So I envision, well, simultaneously, everyone should definitely be trying to isolate and perfect and come up with, you know, a finished product. Man, you're never going to work all your F1 spores. So if you off a first cross or something,
even if you just grew one fruit, you might have billions of them.
Billions, yes, exactly. So you could, and so we were just talking, and this is not that far off from what Tat Syndicate was, but I was saying, hey, Ed, what we probably need to do is throw out this idea of like little groups of people that are working together. And, you know, hey, I'm a breeder. I'm going to start working some crosses, some serial dilutions, what have you, but I can't work all these genetics. So, hey, anybody willing to grow F1 and F2 stuff for me, you know, and whatever you get from it, cool. That's yours. All I would ever ask is that, you know, you say where it comes from.
I can
what
see
do you
that.
think about that?
I can see that like being like a pressure that you would feel if you had like a job that you had to go to every day. Like, whereas I'm at home doing myco full time.
Yes, you can do it.
So I'm not sure if there's any number of genetics that I can't juggle at once, because I go through a lot. Like, but I'm literally doing like batches of agar, grain, and substrate every day. Every day. I'm doing all of it.
What I'm doing weekly,
I'm not doing a huge batch at a time, but I've got it in this rotation where I'm like constantly in every phase of production at the same time. Right. And then I'm also harvesting something every day too. So that's, you know, there's always something. But I think the group idea, like these grow alongs, has been a great concept. Yoshi was the one that really got that going. And it's fantastic, and everybody really loves it. And I think that's a great community building. Like, not only is it good for like just like communication and whatnot, but just, you know, building up everybody's experience level, being able to, hey, I'm having problems with this. You got more people chiming in to help you. Like it's really
that's what I like about it. You have so say you have 30 people who are participating in the grow along, 10 of them really know what they're doing, 10 kind of know what they're doing, and 10 don't know what they're doing.
But they're excited.
But they're excited. But you're moving through that process together. So as you get to a certain stage, it's almost like a great way, if you're brand new and you're looking to do your first grow, I would definitely say, hey, we're doing a grow along. Come do the grow along. You'll have 60 people growing the exact same thing that you can now gauge your progress against seeing all this other stuff. Yeah, I think it's a great
and answer your
tool.
newbie questions along the way as well. Which that's hard to do, like in just like out in public. Let's let's take the shroomery group for example that has like 200,000 plus people in it. Someone will throw a question out there like, "Hey, what do I do about this?" And they get a lot of answers, but none of them are from friends.
Right.
They're from 200,000 plus strangers, and there's good advice and there's bad advice, and it's
Right.
not.
And then it's too much advice.
It's too much advice. It really is, and you get all these different conflicting answers. And the fact of the matter is, there is no one way to skin the cat.
Yeah.
So, like when you have like, I've never been about the whole tech shaming thing.
Yeah.
Like people, obviously you've been in the Facebook groups, like the Facebook has this like massive hatred for Uncle Ben's. It's not that it's not functional, it's just that it's not reliable. But if you look at it as what it is and accept it for being, hey, this is a high risk method that can work, it's still a good gateway into growing for a lot of people. Like some people hear about it, they know it's super easy, so they try it. It may fail, it may succeed, but either way they learn and they move on to the next step. It doesn't work. Let's say it doesn't work. Well, now you got people saying, "Oh, well, don't do that. Try PF Tech." And you're like, "Oh, what's that? I never heard of it. I only heard of Uncle Ben's." So it's like a gateway drug. It's just weed, but you'll be doing harder stuff in no time.
Right. Yes. Well, and so the other thing that I talk a lot about, this is getting a little off topic, so I'll be brief. But some people be like, "I think this is contaminated. Should I toss it?" And I just say, don't toss it yet. You might not have ever even seen Trick. You might not have ever even seen Wet Bubble. Like,
well, and that's a problem with those
leave it.
Facebook question diagnoses is you got people telling you, "Oh, take it outside and burn it. Like, get it out of your house right away." Yeah. And honestly, it's not dangerous.
Maybe you should see what it looks like. I mean, I will remove it from a tent. If I'm growing in a tent, I'll put it somewhere else.
Separate it.
But
quarantine it.
All my plates that contaminate, oh, cool. Looks like my hand got too close to the edge of the Petri dish. It looks like I got a little staph in there or some yeast or whatever. Cool. Let's just let it grow. So we start learning what this stuff looks like too.
Well, and I've told, I think I might've said this on the last show, but, I'll have a tub that goes green. I take a lot of risks with multi-spore grows, searching for phenos. And so like contam gets in. Sometimes I have bad spawn and I try and run it anyway, just to see like maybe it'll spoot out something. But I'll have a tub go green and it'll be in the middle of a stack of tubs surrounded by other tubs. The one tub is completely green. The other tubs around it are just fine. Yeah. I don't have micropore tape on my holes. I have open holes on my tubs. They can breathe. They're supposed to fruit fast with lots of air. Right. And so there's nothing keeping that trick in the tub, but it's still just in that one tub that I put the dirty spawn in. It doesn't spread to the other tubs like everybody tells you it's going to. It's going to eat your whole house. It's going to eat you. It's gross. Don't go waving it around. You don't want to have a huge spore load in your house. Get rid of it. Don't let it go too far. But it's really not. It's not the end of the world. Yeah. And the other one on Facebook you see a lot is the jar. Does my jar look okay? Bacterial. Throw it away. Like bacterial, but it could still be okay. There's different bacteria, and different strains seem to handle it better than others. Like some of them will fruit just fine despite it.
So a lot of people too, the other thing I notice is people will listen to everybody's advice and man, they'll think they're a pro right out of the gate because everything's working well for them. They get no contamination, everything's going well. And then like 6 months down the road, they get one problem and they're melting down like, "Oh, I don't
everything was great. What happened?"
Yeah.
Do I need a new kitchen counter to do my transfers on? Is it my kitchen counter?
I bought a new scalpel. It's got to be the scalpel. And instead of just
I did a post. It's probably been a year or two now, but I posted my scalpel blade. I said I'm changing my scalpel blade. I've had the same blade on my scalpel for I don't even know how many years it was on there, but it was so scarred and raggedy. But I mean, you flame it red hot and it's still good. But I changed it out for a new one, and now my new one's raggedy too. But I ordered a $1 scalpel on Wish that came with 10 blades, and I've used 2 of the blades, and it's been years.
Yep.
Years now.
Yeah. I have never spent more than $10 on a scalpel handle. I think I got a kit like you're talking about for
But I feel like being in the medical profession, you'd be kind of bougie and you'd want like a fancy one.
Nope.
Because you see like,
yeah, I mean, I sell the sterilizer, but no, the scalpel's not bougie at all. And I'm the same way. I replace mine more frequently than you, but not that often. Because I also usually use them for other stuff, you know, for making the sterilizers and stuff. So it seems like my tips always get bent. And
well, yeah, if you're cutting different materials with it besides agar, that's gonna make a difference.
Yeah, they last in agar. Okay, so I got one more question pertaining to this. So I think a good example and is Tim Pig's toque that we've seen now. Toque. Okay, toque. Thank you. So toque looks amazing. Everybody is salivating, ready to work it. And
don't say its name.
Huh?
Every time you say its name, the release gets pushed back another 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's
all right.
It's like Bloody Mary in the mirror. Like,
yeah. I mean, I was talking to somebody one day. They were trying to figure out what was going on, and I was like, I think he just knows he has a really, really cool fruit.
Yeah.
And he's trying to figure out how, you know, it's like you don't want your kid to go away to college and never come back.
Well, that's something I've seen this happen like with a few vendors is they're working towards a big release, you know, and so they want to build up as much stock as they can because you know you've only got that first like
wave.
Couple months before somebody else grows it out.
Right.
So like, you know, it's going to be, you know, sitting on agar for a while, then it's going to be on grain, and then it's going to be in tubs, and then it's everybody's. Right. So some people want to build up enough stock so that they can get their mint from it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's again, like Tim's not a full-time myco vendor. Like that's not his role in life. So it is kind of a big thing for him, you know. Yeah. So he should hold off and make it count. And he's got a great isolation there. Cool. Like it's fucking fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, when it does hit the streets, like you can better believe it's going to be all over the place in no time.
Oh yeah. Now, so speaking of that, and this sort of probably ties back into ethics on a certain level. So I remember early on buying a couple genetics, and then I had genetics. So then somebody said, oh, what is that? Oh, I'll trade you this for that. And so there's a phase in your early life where you don't have a lot of money. You're still saving up for a flow hood. You're still saving up for this. You're saving up for that. And so you realize that it's like trading cards. If I can get a couple genetics and I'm smart and I talk with the right people, I can keep trading them so that I can turn 5 genetics into 25 genetics by just doing some trades, right? So I think what happens is people do that, and then that just becomes their norm. So even though they get to a point where they could easily give you $25 for your original genetic from the person who did all the work to create it, but because early on they do this little like spore hustle, they've kind of gotten in the habit of that.
So you've spent a year and a half working on this thing. Can I trade you this Cambodian print that Bill gave me for it?
Yes. Yeah. That was I got Casper from the original creator, and post pictures, and the next thing you know, 100 people are asking me for Casper, and I say, I told you where it came from. Go get it from him, man. It's cool. Go get it. Why don't you just go get it from the guy? Now, if the guy doesn't answer your DMs 2 weeks later and you really, really want it, I'll DM him. And if he doesn't answer my DMs, then I'll get it for you.
That is a thing. Like pretty much every Facebook post, you post up some mushroom, the first comment is swabs.
Right. Yes. Especially your photos. Yes. Everybody wants.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I'm not a big like save up for release guy. You know, I if you want something that I'm working on, I share just about everything at some point, like early. But I'm also working on a million things at once. So it's like, I'm not hung up on any one particular project at any given time.
Well, so it's like, I used to be a writer, and there's a book called Writing Down the Bones, and there's a chapter in it where they say, if you're a real writer, you will take everything you've ever written and you'll burn it, because you're not what you've written, you are a writer. And the moral of the story, of course, no one really expects you to burn everything you've ever written, but the point is that what you do is an action. It is a process. It is a practice. It's not, right? So like, yes, Jack Frost is amazing. But the minute you go, well, that's my thing. That's it. Just Jack Frost. Just Jack Frost.
Yeah, what if I had a website and that was the only thing on the menu?
Right. And people surely, go, yeah, Jack Frost, one of the most iconic fruits, came from Dave.
I would probably still sell some if that was the only thing on my menu, but people like to have options,
Yeah, and that's not you, because what you are is a breeder, an experimenter, an explorer. You're trying to find new stuff. You're like, cool, I found that. Next, what can I do now?
Yep. Oh, and then I recently did this Jack Frost Golden Halo cross attempt, ghetto cross, and I'm still wishy-washy on whether it actually succeeded, or if I just happened to stumble across a new Jack Frost Pheno accidentally, and the Golden Halo is not in there at all. There's some things that make me second guess it, but I'm not sure. But either way, it's fucking cool. But it's not the same as the old Jack Frost. It's something. So it might come out. I might release that as like a Jack Frost 2.0 kind of thing or something sometime soon. I don't know. I got another grow of it coming up pretty soon. But it's
a really modern age now, Dave. You could call it Jill Frost.
Well, it's got to have some kind of catchy name. I'm not gonna make it a sequel to the other one. That's boring. Like I got to give it a new name. But it'll be something in the wintry kind of realm of ideas for sure.
Cool, man. Well, so I think
it's like Yeti. We've Yeti is a great isolation, and for all the different crosses and variations and reverts from it, I think we've pretty much milked every Sasquatch and Bigfoot name you can think of.
Right.
The only one I almost called one Wendigo at one point in time. That was on my mind. I was like, I'm going to call this one Wendigo, and then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? The Wendigo is really not a very good myth. It's a pretty sinister, horrible, like it represents everything greedy and voracious and cannibalistic, and it's not a good look. So I scrapped that one.
Yeah, but see, you actually thought about that. That's great.
Yeah, I didn't want to have an evil mushroom, like, because what was the one guy that I saw one time had one that he wanted to call it baby seal bashers. And I was like, who wants to think about that when they're tripping? Like,
just harvested a tub of baby seal bashers.
No, we like happy stuff. We want to be happy.
Yeah. So transparency, I think that's the big takeaway, and then also just the attitude. I really appreciate the attitude of, it's just almost naive to think that the minute it leaves the house that it's out there now. Like
well, that's why you released it,
right?
Whether you meant it that way or not, like that's what's going to happen. So you can either get upset about it and develop an ulcer, or you can realize that's the way the world works and get started on that next project so you can release that one.
Yeah. And I mean, no matter what, if you're a real quality vendor, and you care about your customers and you have good presentation, and customers always right because you want them to like vending with you, you're never going to lose those customers. It's like you said, the customer's always right. So you have customers.
Well, yeah.
That's why they're always right. Because if
the one that you treat shitty is going to go tell everybody else.
Yeah, fuck that place.
That was what they said in the restaurants. Like the one customer that you piss off, that he calls and complains, and you tell him to fuck off. He's going to call everybody in town. He's going to put an ad in the paper about you. He's going to, he's going to burn you on every front because now you've got.
Back in the day, he's going to take out an ad. Yep.
Yeah, so that you got to be pretty serious about. But yeah, transparency is number one for me, and just treating people like you want to be treated.
Right.
Like that's, we're all in this together. Yet why would I mean, okay, as a vendor, you definitely want to encourage new growers to get better at growing rather than like shame them and tell them they suck and they should quit, because I mean, it could be a future customer,
Yeah.
Like I get people that are brand new to growing that want to buy from me, and I'm like, they're like, hey, I want, Ghost, for example. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, but I'm going to tell you right up front, this isn't like a novice grow.
Right.
Like a spore swab is not like an easy start for a newbie grower, So I'll try to walk them through something else. I'll sell them the Ghost swabs, but I'm going to give them a couple of regular cubes on swabs and maybe a print. So now you've got multiple tries to start with to get your practice down before you get to those good ones, so you don't mess them up.
Yeah, and just, I mean, it's the same with, so say I wanted to learn how to play tennis, and I'm gonna go to this tennis club, I'm gonna hire some old guy who knows how to play tennis, and they gotta start real simple, right?
No, they're just gonna whoop you. They're gonna whoop you right out of the gate.
Yeah, it can't be backspin and, right? They're not gonna start high level with you. It's gonna be, can you make the ball bounce on your tennis racket, right? It's going to be really simple.
Okay, I got an example for that. Jiu-jitsu class. You go to jiu-jitsu class and you do some warm-up exercises, and then they're like, okay, we're going to pair up, we're going to partner up, and we're going to take turns applying this arm bar to each other.
Right.
We're going to go through it. He's going to give you the arm bar, you're going to give him the arm bar. You go back and forth, we're practicing. Okay, so we've done a couple of moves like that, and then you get to the last part of the class, which is going to be open grappling. So you're the brand new guy, and you just happen to get paired up with, the black belt guy,
pro,
and he's gonna fucking whoop you. He's gonna whoop you. You're not ready for that part yet. Right. But if he's a good black belt, he's gonna whoop you and then tell you what he did. It's gonna be a learning experience still. And right. I just feel like there's this kind of like this superior attitude in the community of people that are like, I'm such a good grower and you suck, and the guy with the two little rice cakes that has little mushrooms coming off of it, that's perfect medicine for him, and that's what he needs. And when he sees those mushrooms come up, it's like Christmas morning, like, don't shame that. Like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, right. And it's wonderful, and it's a step in the right direction. And just we could all be more supportive of each other.
100%. Yeah, I was just talking to a cultivator who I don't know why, but man, all he wants to do is just bring people down. If he doesn't like you, even if I agree with the guy, like, yeah, okay, I see where you're coming from, but he's so negative. His persona on social media is so negative, and I just keep saying, dude, I like you. I want you to do well, but these people coming in, like they want this to be an enjoyable hobby, an enjoyable experience. Some people desperately need this medicine, and it's not like an advanced political assassination project for them. So,
and I wonder if some of that comes from the old school of like, maybe one person is I'm a big mushroom producer, and I can supply mushrooms to my whole festival community and all this stuff. And here's some new guy trying to learn how to grow. You don't want him taking your business.
Right.
But the way I look at the genetics side of it is it's constantly evolving, So like, nobody's going to take my business from me. I'm going to make my business.
Yeah.
If I just stop doing mycology, then yeah, somebody took it, or I just lost it or whatever. Okay. But as long as I'm still doing mycology, I'm having a great time. Even if I didn't have spores to sell or anything like that, I've been doing this for 25 years. I've only been like in the actual vending game for the last 3,
right?
Maybe 4. I can't keep track of time. I don't even know what year it is, honestly.
Well, that's a great lesson in and of itself.
You know what? That might be part of the mushroom thing too, is I've been growing mushrooms for 25 years and now I don't know what year it is. So take that to heart, kids.
Yes. But no, there's a lot to be said for, I mean, you waited that long. You absolutely knew what you were doing when you came in. So That's a good lesson too, which is, care about your craft.
Well, yeah, because I was just doing it for myself,
Right.
I wasn't in communication with anybody about it. I wasn't a big seller.
Right.
I just love to grow mushrooms. And I played with different phenotypes and let them die and didn't save them and didn't care because there was always going to be new ones. So it wasn't until I linked up with Jick and the Tat Syndicate that I actually started stabilizing and naming things.
Right. Yeah. And the rest is history.
Before that, I just ate them.
Still the best thing to do with them.
What it is.
Still the best thing. Yeah.
Except for I'm kind of scared of the chocolate Gumby. I don't know if you've seen that one that I've been working on, but it's like a weird
yeah.
The hybrid, like it's like halfway between Enigma and Fruits. Like it's like Enigma with caps. It's really weird. I did just dry out a couple pieces that I plan on eating, and I'm scared.
Start small. Although I know you probably don't have to start off too small.
My tolerance is low. After my year of digestive surgeries, I didn't eat mushrooms for a whole year, so I'm just kind of now getting back into it. So I'm small doses. I'm not eating 7 to 10 grams at a time anymore.
Right. All right, man. Well, thank you so much. I think transparency and also really just like your more generous attitude and your focus on just your practice and your work. I think that's a great foundation to start talking about this idea of ethics, and I'm hoping that as we keep doing this, we're going to get better at talking about it and better at talking about some of these dicey situations. And I honestly hope, I got a few people in mind. I'm hoping maybe we can even like heal the divide in a couple, historic divides. And
that would be nice. I feel like
cool.
people should all get along and let bygones be bygones. Yeah. And just like the mushroom genetics are constantly evolving, we're evolving as people at the same time. I'm not the same guy that I was 10 minutes ago. I'm pretty close, but hopefully a little bit better.
Subtle difference. Yes. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much. Always great to talk to you. The audience loves getting a chance to get to know you a little bit more each time, so I really appreciate that. Don't forget, guys, wombatgenetics.net. Keep Dave in his daily grind. Yeah, you got it.
The site is still under construction. It's got a really short menu. I mean, people know my spore list is pretty ridiculous. But trying to load that whole thing onto the site at once is not a good idea.
It's a process.
So, well, and I looked at, that was one of the things I saw on other sites is like the more pages you have to go through to find the genetics, the more likely you're just not, and you're just going to buy something off the first page.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep it on one page, and I'm just going to rotate things in and out. So there'll be constantly new products. And I think that'll be fun. And I want to get some t-shirts and other stuff on there too, once I'm geared up and ready for it.
You got the graphics for it.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. Cool, man. All right. Well, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. That was a fascinating deep dive with my buddy Dave Wombat on transparency, responsible vending, and the ethics of stabilizing genetics before selling them. But, not everybody agrees. So enter Raymond and Maya Midichee, my absolutely favorite myco power couple. These two got a take on this. It's more like the wild and free approach, but not in the reckless sense. Raymond's philosophy isn't about throwing genetics into the wild and hoping for the best. It's about working closely with other experienced and driven cultivators to refine and evolve them together. Some of the greatest cultigens I have ever seen have come from this guy and the collaborations and way he's worked with other cultivators, which it just proves that stability, it isn't just about waiting. It can sometimes be about, an active relationship, active participation with others. So should vendors hold back until stability is achieved? Or is there value in releasing genetics into the hands of capable cultivators to help shape their future? Originally aired on January 16th, 2023, this conversation flips the script on vending ethics. If you think the rules of mycology sometimes stifle creativity, this one's for you. Let's get into it. You brought up a great point of you just weren't buying this whole
being regulated on when you could release something and that you had to wait until it was the most stable thing on earth or that it was perfect or whatever that even means for mushrooms, I don't even know. But that you distinctly disagreed with that. And you wanted to get stuff out there, which I like. That makes sense on multiple layers. How about we start talking about right there this idea that if you cross something or you isolate something and you want to get it out, that there's some sort of magical place you have to get to first, whether it's F4 or F7 or F8 or F59 or F472. Like, why does that not make sense to you? Why should it be okay to just do whatever the hell you want to do anyway?
I would love to share my feelings on that.
Okay.
So
Hey.
I remember when I was kind of doing some research on people working on isolations and trusted cultivators, which I have lots of respect for the old guys and the OGs and all that. Definitely not trying to act like my word is gospel. These are opinions, right?
Right. This is your take.
Yeah. This is how I feel about something, and I have every right to express how I feel about things, and I do every day, all day long. I'm a very upfront, very honest person. Maybe even to the point where it's possibly a little bit annoying or yucky for people to experience, but that makes me feel good. That makes me feel like I'm honoring myself when I'm honest about things.
Yeah.
And so when I was reading about people working on stuff, I was reading a lot of opinions that to be professional about things when you're working on isolations or different types of serious cultivation projects, that you need to wait till you're at like a F4 or F5 possibly, when you get multiple runs of really stable results. So that way, when you're handing it off or when you're making it available for sale, people are happy with what they're getting and they're getting really consistent results every single time. And
right.
I think that that's fine if that's what some people want to choose to do, but I don't think anyone should hold another person to their standard of that type of work, where it's like you telling me whether or not I can be wild and free or if I have to be chased and reserved. I really enjoy being with nature. And in my personal experience, nature is very wild and free. And that's how I feel inside. My heart is very wild and free, and I want to do whatever the fuck I want. I don't want to be constrained or suppressed by anyone else's opinions or ideals or paths. I want to walk my own path. I want to do things the way that I want to do them. And so when I decided to start some of these things and I was getting to a point where I wanted to share things, it didn't matter too much to me how stable something was if I was giving it away for free. If I'm sharing things for free and I'm really enjoying what I'm working on and I am just feeling good about it, that is me sharing part of my energy with people, and that is me being true to myself and being honest with myself. And I believe if people took more time to be honest with themselves and honor themselves and do what they really think is good for them, people would be a lot happier, and people wouldn't have all of this drama and this weird reserve kind of gatekeepy energy about them. When you want to hold on to every last fucking isolation or phenotype that you worked on because you think it's going to be a winner and you think you're going to sell a whole bunch of swabs or isolation work from it, it just seems so exhausting and so gross. Like, why? Why do you have to hold on to this stuff? That's kind of like this whole idea of, if you love something, just let it be. Just let it be good. Like, if you see a beautiful flower, you don't go up and fucking rip it out of the ground right away and then smell it and throw it away. Let the fucking thing grow. Let it be wild and free. Let it do its thing. So
Yeah, so I kind of love. Oh, sorry, go Maya.
I was just thinking, like, there's like this low grade stress, I think, in the community too, of being able to do things like the right way. And there like
Right.
really is no like right way. There's, I mean, this is mycology is science. Like it's all
Right.
about like exploring and figuring out what's best and
There-
for yourself and for the
Right.
thing that you're working with.
there are definitely trustworthy texts that
For
people
sure.
should be following.
Yes.
But as far as genetics work, I don't think that there should be any like set standards or ideals or rules that people
Right.
should be held to for any of that. Especially if people are just sharing stuff, they're just wanting to share stuff and they're not trying to make money off of it. I think that it's completely acceptable for people to just share whatever the fuck they want to share.
Yeah. So, let's talk about this. So, okay, first off, while that's probably my style more, mostly it's because I think that getting more F1 and F2 spores out, like in mass, is going to increase the likelihood that we find cool stuff. And at the end of the day, the cool fruit definitely attracts newbies to the hobby, right? Like seeing all these different morphologies is very attractive, and it will get more people into the hobby, because of course, if it's just about the psilocybin, any of these fruit have it in it, so it doesn't matter. Obviously, there's more to this cultivation practice. There is a different relationship you have with different morphologies. It's just like people with dogs, right? Like some people like Shih Tzus, some people like Chihuahuas, some people like Irish Wolfhounds, because everybody is a different person. They're attracted to different morphologies. And having more morphologies in our community will be good for the community as a whole. So I 100% am all about that. But I also can appreciate, I mean, obviously it's, everybody can do whatever they want to do. I also appreciate the like Wizard of Oz, like the mad scientist who is brewing up this thing that we have never seen. We don't know what it is. And then all of a sudden it's just like, bam, there it is. Cool, I love that. And assuming it's not outrageously priced, I will probably want to buy it as well.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that because that's how some people are running the show, that's how the show has to be run universally, is kind of where I'm getting to at this point. And like you said,
Agreed.
if you're giving it away for free, or for example, obviously if a spore set represents an amount of work you've done, if you've done only one generation of work, that swab set costs less than if you're at filial generation 15 and you've worked on it for 4 years and you really think there's something special there. Obviously, at that point, those swabs could and should cost more money. Or if something's just exceptionally rare, somebody got lucky, crossed something really cool, unanimously agreed upon that it's very cool, of course, charge more money for that, for rarity, right? Diamonds cost more than topaz do, for a reason. They're harder to find. But again,
Yeah, everyone can decide what they want to do as far as
Yes.
that goes. I mean, you're not going to make anyone buy your stuff. So if people are
Right.
into it, they're into it. So
Yep.
that's all for everyone to figure out. Oh, what's up, Trace? I got something for you. I got a special thing here.
Trey showed up. Ray is just leaving the living
Oh
room
my
now.
gosh. Like these and then
There we go.
Bananas. You see how big? Is it banana for scale? Banana
It's hilarious.
for scale. Trace, I did it. Oh. Sorry, I had to do that. We have a banana for scale
she said nice.
running joke. Gotta have bananas all day, every
Nice.
day. I don't want to see any more. I don't want to see any more disgusting Bic lighters. I'm gonna do canopies, all right? This
Only fruit. Fruit
this
on
is the
fruit.
new- this is the modern age right here, okay? This is a banana, and it goes on top of your mushrooms or next to your mushrooms, okay? No more fucking big lighters on shit. I know what you do with those weird things. You be smoking weird shit with them and pushing bowls down and whatever the fuck you do.
Sure.
It's about the bananas, okay?
Oh my god.
All right.
You have your bananas look very fresh. I'm not gonna lie.
You just bought
I
them.
just bought them
Okay.
especially
Okay.
for this.
Nice.
I'm gonna have to make banana bread now. There's no way I can eat that many bananas.
You will.
Well, we have,
We
good
have
in the
a
house, so there is. But
yeah. We have a section in our freezer just for bananas that we're gonna make into banana bread that we almost
Yep.
never make into banana bread.
yeah, we save ours for smoothies too.
How big of a container do you have going?
I mean, we easily have how many bananas you just presented to our viewership
Yeah.
in our freezer at any given time. Yes.
That's awesome.
We are better at freezing old bananas than we are, I think, at eating bananas. Actually.
Yeah.
We're not gonna
Yeah.
eat it right.
Yes. That's great. I love bringing the fruit into the fruit. That's nice. And Ray is he's so free. He's just gonna eat bananas right now and blend into the
Oh,
gills of his mushroom backdrop.
we have so much fun working together. It's a lot of fun. We're constantly cracking jokes, and he loves doing like different voices and things like that, and it's just a lot of fun.
We have a lot of fun. We set up our SABs sometimes across from each other. We put a little candle in the middle, and
Okay.
we do some eye gazing and do some swabs, a couple of clones.
Hey, you know what I say? What two adult individuals do with their SABs in the privacy of their own home, that is their business. Yes.
Oh my god.
We're little voyeurs, we like to share our SAB time.
Just compare techniques. I know how it goes. SAB and candlelight. Also, the sterilizing method works out great. It's wonderful. All right, so for ethics, let me ask you guys a couple questions. So,
Mhm.
if you were a vendor who had something, because I actually had this happen to me, it seems like a lot of times there are unwritten laws, unwritten rules about what you're supposed to or not supposed to do with genetics. Now, of course, the reality is people are trading genetics all the time. It did not take me long before people said, hey, I see you have X, Y, and Z. I will trade you for LMNOP. How about that? Great, let's do that. So that happens. But I got in trouble by a vendor who basically blacklisted me because when I decided to gift a bunch of liquid culture that I got from him and expanded for the first time, that I wasn't supposed to do that. That was like a bad thing. And I had no clue. I apologized up and down. I offered him money to make up for it. I felt really bad because I didn't know the rules. But like, how do you guys navigate that? Like, are you just at a point where you're trying to read the room of the vendor before you start exchanging genetics, or what do you do?
So, first off, we're not down with shit like that, and we wouldn't do a trade with someone that was. And if we did find out that someone was like that, we would say, okay, we're not going to promote your stuff. And it's not about like getting you back or anything, but we're just not comfortable in interacting that way because that's not how we are. So
Gotcha.
My unwritten rule that I have has always been, if I sell something to you or give you something and you can grow it, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it.
Right.
And I hope that you can do all those things and you can share it. So regardless of whether or not you sell it or you trade it or you give it away, I feel like if I let something go, right? If I let my intellectual property or my creation go into the wild, then it's free game,
That really,
never,
yeah.
I would never do that. I would never come at someone and be like, "Whoa, what are you doing? Like, you can't share my isolation. You were just supposed to grow that all by yourself and never share it with anyone."
Right.
Like, what?
Now, so I have received genetics, like you were saying earlier. It'd be great if you get the thing you thought you bought.
Yeah.
But I've received genetics from people who I think they thought they were selling me what I wanted, and then I got it and absolutely was not that. And I am fairly certain that they never actually grew that stuff out. They just get it in as plate culture. They keep transferring it. They're immediately selling it on their menu.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that just because if you're going to actually sell something for money, you should probably have done any amount of work on it and know what it is.
Yeah, you need to work it. If you're gonna, especially if you're gonna sell culture plates of stuff, you need to work it a couple of times to actually make sure you know what you're working with.
I agree.
And a couple of people have done this, and then I think last year or maybe a little bit longer ago, somebody came up with a really funny name for that. Right? It's culture vulture. Right?
It's a good name. Culture vulture.
I thought that was the most hilarious thing. When I heard that, I was like, somebody was talking about this exact scenario where somebody's like selling all this shit that they're not actually working. They might be working some stuff, whatever, whoever the person is. There's a very specific person that's done this that's almost famous for it. I'm not going to name any names. I don't want to be a huge dick. I just want to be a medium-sized dick.
No doxing. We're not going to, in this exploration of ethics,
Anyways,
we're not going to dox anybody. Yeah.
I think that it's yucky. Nobody needs to be doing that. And it's not very ethical, right? I mean,
right. And especially it's frequently sold at the same rate. So for example, if I invent something called, let's call it Geeky Ghost, right? Okay, who wants to grow Geeky Ghost? I sell it for $25 a plate, and then the guy gets it from me. He immediately plates it and does transfers and starts selling it for $25 a plate. Well, you've done no work, and you actually don't know what the hell I sent you. Like, just grow it out. Grow at least once. Grow it once, and then take some spores. And you can sell those spores and then grow those spores out. And if you can isolate that successfully, then go ahead and sell plate cultures all day long. I'm not even mad at you, right? But the minute you don't do any work, I don't know.
Yeah. If you don't do any work, I agree as an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
If you're, if we're going to have any at all, to be just peddling things, you're just leavening culture. I mean, you're not really doing a whole lot. I mean, it takes, a small amount of materials and a really, really small amount of research to be able to make up some agar plates and do a couple transfers. If you're not actually going through the work of running something to grain and bulk substrate and fruiting it, I don't think you deserve to sell culture plates of it.
Right, and what I'm hoping through all this is people who start watching this and watch the ethics segment are like, oh, I like vendors who actually do the work and grow things out and have an ethic behind their work. And when they put something out, the photos that they show of that fruit are from their own grows.
Yeah.
Not like, hey dude,
too.
Can I borrow your photo because I didn't grow any of your stuff out, but can I just steal this photo and then for me, that does not work anymore. I'm over that. I do not buy from anybody who does that. If you do that, I would encourage you to stop doing that and just take that next step, because all you got to do is grow it out yourself and take your own pictures like everybody else does. And it's really above reproach at that point. If I say, oh yeah, I sell plate cultures. Oh yeah, where'd you get it? Well, originally I got it from Ray, but then I grew it out. I swabbed it. I germinated some swabs, and I actually tweaked it a little bit. My little pheno expression that I got off my T0 plates, they were a little bit different, and so mine are different. But I took pictures of my own grow, and so here's what you're getting. How you can't mess with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's how you should be doing it.
It's only a couple more weeks' work too than what you already did. I mean,
Well, it kind of comes back to what we were saying before. Like, like everyone's environment is different and everyone's energy is different too. So I mean things are going to get stabilized, but at the same time you're going to get a little bit different
Right.
just because of the environment and the person growing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like my ODPE look different because I give each one a kiss goodnight before I go to bed. It's the secret.
With tongue or just a peck?
Oh, no tongue. No tongue. No tongue. I try to keep it platonic with my mushrooms.
I see.
Yeah.
Some people like to get kinky, you know.
Now mycelium is another story. Mycelium I have tried to seduce on an occasion. Yeah. I find mycelium to be the sexier of the morphology for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so on that very, I don't know what's bestiality for mycology. I don't know what the word is for that, but no one is having sex with mushrooms, guys. If you're just tuning in, we're not doing that.
Not
on
here.
them, maybe.
Not here. Somewhere
Yes.
someone is, but not here.
That's for sure.
Yes.
You got to go over to the mycosexuals Discord for that one.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes, and they're there. You can find them.
Oh.
Well, guys, it's been a treat. I really, Ray, it's good to get to know you, and I got to know Maya a little bit from getting the female podcast together. So now everybody's got a couple podcasts you guys can watch, get to know the Midichees. If you want to connect and get to know them more, reach out on Instagram. Somebody asked, are they on Facebook? They are. I think you guys are trying to do a little bit more on Instagram. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do quite a bit on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're in all the Facebook cultivation community pages and stuff like
Okay.
that. So
We have 3.5 years of solid work on my Instagram, and then
Nice.
Maya has about a year or so worth of stuff on hers, and then we're always tagging each other and leading followers to other people's pages that we dig and that we like, and promoting people that we enjoy interacting with. And after she did the Ladies in Mycology podcast with you, she racked up a whole bunch of followers on Instagram, and then they started coming my way, and then we just did
Nice.
huge albino chode wave spore swab giveaway on Instagram and a couple of different Facebook groups, and we both did a follow share deal or screenshot follow share deal, and racked up a bunch of new friends and followers, and gave away I think 50 spore swabs so far. We have another 50 spore swabs to give away this month. I promised that we would do a good 3 to 5 different giveaways, and we did 3 so far. So we got 2 more giveaways that we need to give away.
Nice.
At least 25 spore swabs. So be on the lookout for that on Facebook and Instagram. And then we a lot of our products are available through us. You can just message us. You can hit the beacon that's available.
yeah, the link in the description will give you all the information, like our
Where to
current
find
spore
you guys.
menu. I actually need to update the spore menu, but it has our Facebooks and Instagrams and stuff like that. And then we're also currently building our own Facebook group too. So that will
Sweet.
be out soon for everyone to see.
Yeah. It's going to be Midichee Mycology. It's going to be a really badass group. A lot of it's going to be us promoting ourselves, but with that, we're going to be doing a shit ton of giveaways on there, sharing a whole bunch of our work, and then also promoting other groups. In our group, we're going to allow other group promotions. There's a lot of groups that don't allow you to promote other groups and don't allow you to promote people's Instagram and stuff like that, but we're going to have a little bit more relaxed environment, and we are going to allow people to promote other groups and promote themselves a little bit. And then we'll have some really low-key, really OG spore vendors in there, some of our really great
Cool.
friends that we have spent a lot of time with and done projects with already. And so that's something that's really awesome. That's going to be coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I gotta join the Myco OG for sure. It's been a pleasure. You guys are awesome. I like I said, have only been impressed by you guys from day one, and nothing has changed since. Thank you so much for being on, and I'm sure we'll have you guys back shortly.
All right, guys. My buddy Ray and his wife Maya made a very strong case for sharing genetics, prioritizing, exploration over these rigid standards. But what about the other side of the debate? Some argue that while collaboration is great, vendors have a duty to ensure that they're selling legitimate stuff. That means properly IDing genetics, honoring those who came before them, and avoiding shady vending practices, like flipping cultures without even growing them out. Enter my good friend Whitebeard. While he's not a vendor of genetics, Whitebeard has been growing for over 2 decades with a deep history of trading, working with, and improving his genetics. His experience in the community gives him a unique and valuable perspective on this issue, one rooted in practice and not just theory. Originally aired on January 23rd, 2023, this conversation is all about transparency. Whitebeard takes on the ethics of renaming strains, misleading customers, and why vendors should actually grow out genetics before selling them. But vending ethics aren't the only issue here. We also dig into something that rarely gets discussed: the responsibility of buyers. What happens when experienced cultivators take the time to help newcomers, only for their advice to be ignored or unappreciated? Whitebeard does not hold back on this one.
Let's talk a little bit about ethics before we get into Ed's stuff. What do you see are like the biggest ethical issues that our community deals with on a regular basis?
No, that's a pretty interesting question. I'd say there's a few, not just one, or I don't know how I would be able to limit it to just one.
No, you like what are the things that you reoccurring themes or issues where you're like, man, I wish people would just do this, or why are so many people doing that?
Okay.
Like, what are your things you hear a lot that bug you?
I'm very concerned with how some people in servers or on Instagram or Reddit or wherever it is, where they're asking for help and they ask somebody specifically, say like somebody in your server knows that I do bags and they came and asked me specifically something about bags, and I give them an answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's two ways this goes that I don't particularly care for. The first way is the person that asked me doesn't follow the advice, and they come back the very next day asking somebody else, and it's like you literally just wasted my time.
I agree.
Because if you ask me for help, I'm going to give it to you, and it's not going to be a quick 10-second. Well, try this. It's going to be like, okay, well, talk me through your process. Let's see where you could possibly be going wrong, and then I'll listen to them. 15, 20 minutes, tell me about their thing, and then I'm listening and saying, okay, well, here's 2 things that stood out to me, and I think if you possibly try this in those 2 scenarios, I think it's going to really help you out a lot. And then I know they haven't,
Wait, say that again. You cut out for like 1 second.
And then the other thing is, let's say this similar scenario, somebody asks for help, and I give them an answer, and then someone else comes in and is like, no, you don't want to do it that way. Do it this way.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with someone else offering an alternative fix to that issue or an alternative process or something like that. But when their attitude is shit on the first person that answered and listen to me, it's just kind of a dick move, and I find it interesting how in this, particularly this community with mushrooms, you know, that sometimes there's still some pretty big egos. You know, you thought that
Oh yeah.
you'd think that would have been handled by now. And I have this theory that maybe these people aren't growing for themselves at all.
Right.
Like they're doing this as a business, and they're not using it to work on themselves. Because if they did, I think their ego would be a little more under control.
That's a good theory.
Yeah.
That's a good theory.
Another issue I would say ethics wise is stealing genetics.
Sure. Now, what do you? So you tell me what you mean by that.
Okay. Let's say. Okay, I've only ever made one cross in my entire life. It was a ghetto cross about 5 years ago.
Okay.
It was Penis Envy and Golden Teacher. And it took me at least a year and a half to get it to F4 stabilization. It took a long time just to get it to cross to begin with. I went through a ton of failure to get it to cross at all. And once I got it, I had to work it a lot to get it there. Now, this didn't happen to me, but I'm just giving you a scenario.
Right.
So I go through that. I either sell it, trade it, give it away, whatever I do with it. It gets out into the ether. And somebody gets a hold of it and they sell it as whatever.
I see. Yes, I agree.
You know,
the old switcheroo.
Exactly. Now, I don't have a problem with them marketing it, differently. Say they grew it out and they swabbed it and they're selling the swabs, or they swabbed it, fruited it, fresh from spore, did their own little work to it, whatever like that. I don't want to use anybody we know, like.
We get it. No,
name out there to give it a negative aspect, but let's say my old lady, Sweet Pea, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say she did that. I'm totally fine with it being PE teacher Sweet Pea's cut.
Right.
We see Mana cut, we see, all these other different cuts. Mm-hmm. I have a bunch of Whitebeard cuts that I trade out and all that.
Right. But by doing that, you honor so for example, let's say you work DC 391 for a while and you feel you get to a point where you have isolated something a little different about it.
Right.
And so or maybe you just feel like you've got it way more stable.
Sure.
You somehow improved it or changed it. And then you say, I have DC Mac 391 Whitebeard cut.
Yeah.
So you've honored where it comes from, and you're letting people know that it's your cut. It's it's a little different. If you buy 391 from DC, it's going to be a little different than if you buy it from Whitebeard. Or maybe...
Or let's say Dirty South, right?
Exactly.
Dirty South got it, and he's got his own cut of it. His is going to be different from mine,
Yep.
And that... But for you to take that, something that I created, which is the only thing I've ever created,
right,
and completely change the name and call it,
right, like hiding it's really about, are you trying to honor where it came from or hide where it came from?
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
However you want to accomplish that, but that should be, yeah.
Yeah.
So even I found this on Instagram. So, if I just grow a tub of ODPE, one of the first questions people are going to say is, well, where did you get it? Well, then why didn't I just, and I do this, but in the post, then I just say genetics from Fungi Guru, genetics from Dirty South Myco, genetics from DC Mac, right?
Exactly.
Just tell people where it came from. That's good for those people, because then the people who have actually created something original and good, you are now giving them credit, and then they can keep doing it. Right.
Well, not only that, but you're erasing the hard work and the pride somebody put into providing that to the community.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't even have to go to that point of saying, buy Stun in 21, buy Dirty South Myco.
Right.
Sometimes those crosses the name itself, they donned it with that name, like Stormtrooper, right?
Right.
Like, so, you know, if you don't know where it came from, you can talk to people in the community and find out pretty quickly where that came from. But at least it's paying homage to the person
Right.
who's put a lot of work
It's
into
respect.
it. Agreed. There you go. Respect.
It's
That's
respect.
what I was looking for. And also, you know, some of these guys that resell genetics, you know, they'll take Stormtrooper and call it Ewok butt, or you know,
Uh-oh, dude, if
Chewbacca
if Dave Wombat's listening, you better believe next week we're gonna have some Ewok butt. Watch out. I think he had a butthole one recently. Maybe that's the name for it.
But yeah, you get the point,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
And basically they're selling you genetics you already have. You don't know it.
That in and of itself is problematic, yes.
Right.
100%.
To me, I feel at that point you've deceived me and you're stealing from me.
Yeah.
You're stealing my money. I already have that. I already have that genetics, and you're changing the name of it
Couldn't agree more.
to try to, you know, freshen it up, give it a new whatever, and
Right.
well, I just spent $30 on that, and I
Yeah,
already
man,
have
it's
it at home.
It's like when you go to the grocery store and you buy your Tide and you're like, oh, this is a new Tide. It's a fancy new bottle. No, it's just Tide. Just a new, nothing new at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just the packaging. It's the hype.
Well, I mean, that's a couple of ways that I see there being ethics issues. Of what would be some that you would consider?
So I love that you brought up the one about if you take someone's time, if you're a newbie and you take someone's time and ask for their advice, you're asking for their wisdom, you're asking for their secrets, and then they give them to you and you go ahead and do none of them, you have definitely wasted somebody's time. And then don't be surprised if the next time you ask for more information, they're less inclined to want to respond to you. It could very well be why some of the really well-known people, as a general rule, don't respond to people. Maybe they just realized that that was not a smart use of their time. And
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah. So, but I love that because in talking about this ethics, you know, we talk a lot about what vendors should and shouldn't be doing. But yeah, there's a responsibility for newbies as well, and I agree that would be one that if you want someone's time and they give you advice, bucking it and ignoring it completely, and then coming back showing me, and dude, this has happened where they show me a picture. Why is my tub like this? Well, did you do even 8 of the 10 things I told you to do? No, I didn't even do 1 of the 10 things. Well, okay, I don't know how to help you then.
Yeah.
Like, because if you did what I told you, you'd have some great looking mushrooms right now, probably.
Or if you did what I told you, at least we could rule those things out.
Yes, at
and
least
focus on the other aspects, and then try to fix it there instead of over here where we're trying to, you know, let's patch this up first, and then we can.
Yes.
If that doesn't work, we can look at other things.
100%. That well, for me, so on the vendor side, I really think this naming thing is a big deal. I think it would be great if all we did, and the Midichees talked about this too, you know, make it less about whether you should sell something, when you can sell something, and just spend a little more time honoring where it came from, like you're talking about. I think we'd be ahead of the game.
Okay, hold on. Now you brought something in my brain.
Triggered.
Yeah.
Hit me.
Okay, so I'm not gonna put anybody in the spotlight for this.
Yes, we are not in this whole ethics thing. We are not going to dox people. 100%.
No,
We're not.
Not at all. But I do have a problem with you being a you know, genetics worker and vendor and putting out an unfinished product, and then having your clientele finish the work for you and then send you back the finished product so that you can then turn around and sell it again. Now mind you, I don't have a problem with that in general, My problem is with that is that the price should reflect that. You know,
Sure.
if it's unfinished genetics, it's not stabilized, um, and you normally charge $30 for some swabs, those unfinished genetics should be maybe 10 or $15. But you charging the
Yeah.
full price
Right.
for an unfinished product, um, I have an issue with that. Like,
Agreed. Yeah, so I mean, I like what Dave Wombat does. His unstable stuff, he's super transparent about it, and he tends to just throw it in as extras. He doesn't charge anything for it.
I like that.
Last time I bought, I don't know, 5 or 6 swab sets from him, he threw in like 2 extras and was like, you know,
Have
here's
fun.
what they are. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know, but they're definitely not done.
Well,
Okay. So I want to say this real quick. Sweet Pea has been plugging for. So we got 176 people watching this right now. Click the like button, guys. Just click the like button.
Like
She's
and
working too
subscribe, my
hard
guys.
over there. Yeah, subscribe. I mean, if you watch this on a semi-regular basis and you're not subscribed and you don't get notifications and all that, you know, come on, what are you doing, guys?
Good
Help
job,
me out
baby.
here. Help me out. Yeah, Sweet Pea's a good one. She's definitely a good one. Right? Yes, I think we have some work to do. I think a lot of it is just because no one knows what
She's
to
smiling
do,
ear
right?
to ear over here, brother.
Nice.
I just want you to know that. Like, it's
That's
permagrin.
awesome. That's great. Yeah, I, you know, it's not like when you learn how to drive a car, right? Like you read the rule book, you know what the rules are for driving. When you live in society, you know what the rules are, right? We don't really have any rules. We have everybody's opinion of how it should be going. So that's why I'm really hoping that just talking about this for the next year every week will get us to some sort of something that's roughly like a consensus. Obviously, even when we reach consensus on this, doesn't mean there's not going to be a significant percentage of people in this community who don't listen to a single word anybody has to say, and they do whatever they want anyway. That's fine. We can't do anything about you guys.
You can say it. It's okay. We all know who that group is.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We know who that group is.
Yeah.
And that group won't be doing this for very much longer anyway. So, because everybody's going to grow their own.
Yeah.
It's all good. And at the same time, you know, we're going to just be here spreading the spores. We're going to be spreading the information because everybody should have a chance right now to experience what this stuff is all about. You know, it's pretty remarkable. Anyway, man, I think we're because I'm still trying my best to stay roughly. You know, I'm trying not to hit that 3.5 hour mark anymore. I had a couple that went pretty long, and I pay for it in the morning. I just want to say this. I think we've got to have you back on. I feel like we're not done with our conversation, but it was great.
Brother, I love being here, especially on one of my good friends' podcasts. I would be more than happy to make time to accommodate that. And you just let me know.
Cool, man. Well, you know, as I get better, so man, I'm telling you right now, the segments are hard to produce. It's hard to put together.
I would imagine.
I'm still working on it.
You know, just learning to make YouTube videos has been so there's such a learning curve for me.
Yes. So guys, Whitebeard started doing. He's got his. This is great. This is what I secretly had hoped. I hoped more people would do podcasts, more people would do channels. So in the description, you guys can find how to get a hold of Whitebeard and sweet talk him, and maybe find one day get an invite into his very elite private Discord server. Which I got to tell you right now. He's a good guy. They do a lot of voice chat. They do a lot of talking. They're just like in our Discord. They share everything. They hide no secrets. They truly want to help one another out. And so whether you're in his Discord or you're in mine, you can get a hold of him either way. And go check out his YouTube too. He's making some cool tech videos. And are you doing some interviews? Right? You interviewed Dark Matter.
I did. I interviewed Dark Matter, but I didn't really know what I was doing,
all good.
so I didn't have a way to do video or anything like that. So it was a
It is a learning curve.
fake it till you
Yeah,
make it kind
it
of thing,
is.
you know.
But you're doing it, man. That's what a lot of people talk.
Well, I got a good camera now and a
You're doing it.
backdrop, and
You're
and
ready.
I even have a light ring. I didn't set it up yet, but I got a
It's all
light
good.
ring. I'm trying to I got a, I figured out how to use my soundboard like
Perfect.
through my computer that
Nice.
because I'm a musician, so I've got mics and all that stuff already.
Oh, dude, you're ready.
The thing is just finding the time. No,
The time and the
time.
knowledge and the tricks and the little glitches and
Yes.
it's a process. It's a
Yes.
process for sure.
Currently, my YouTube videos look like a third grader made them, but
It's all good, man. If the information is in there, that's all that matters.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I think we gotta have you back on. That was a good time.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. Okay, guys. So we're gonna say bye to Whitebeard. See you later, my friend.
Do you mind if I take 10 seconds to throw a few shout outs?
Oh, shout out whoever you want, please.
Okay. My beautiful baby Sweet Pea over here that's pushing your likes and subscribes over here.
She's awesome.
I couldn't do it without her. Like some of the mainstays in my server. We've already covered some in your server, such as P-Funk and some of the other guys that we've been around for a long time.
Yep.
Deadpool and Slightly Feral and all those guys. But there's some that are in my server that I'm very proud of. A lot of them.
Shout them out.
Yeah, Mind Melt or Mindfully Melting, depending upon which one you find on IG. 3XB, Wood Hippie, Specialty, Slink. My boy Slink took my cut of Gandalf the Green and grew out a 421 gram fruit.
I know.
That was amazing. Let me see who else. Fatal. Who else, baby? I don't want to forget nobody. I already said Wood Hippie. Toyful. Toyful's my boy. Yeah.
We're gonna have Toyful on here. I don't know exactly when, but he's gonna be on here too.
Oh, Penelius Jones.
Nice. Yes.
Man, I feel like dirt for not remembering everybody's name off the top of my head, but those are normally some of the mains that are in voice all the time and getting in video and all of that stuff, So I really wanted to make an effort to throw that out there. And for anybody who I forgot, guys, I still fucking love you.
Next time, we'll get next time. Well, next time, whoever they'll tell you tomorrow, everybody you forgot, and then next time you hit all those guys up. It's all good.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Tap, don't forget Tap. Yeah, my boy Tap.
All right, man.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, and I call him Infected, but y'all might know him as Hail Satan 666. My boy from New York.
Hail Satan 666. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them, man.
Good people.
I could probably go on and on if I kept going, but that's good for now. I just wanted to throw some shout outs. I appreciate you.
Cool, man. All right, take care. Thanks for coming. It was super fun. I had a great time.
Hell yeah.
All right, take care, man.
Bye.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into the wild world of mushroom vending ethics. Over the past year, these conversations have stayed just as spicy as the day they aired. Because let's be real, the myco community loves a good debate, almost as much as it loves weird-looking fruits. From Dave Wombat's push for transparency, because calling Golden Teacher 24-karat gold sensei, it doesn't make it a new strain. To the Midichee's belief in letting genetics run free like a mycelial Woodstock. And Whitebeard's no-nonsense stance on integrity, because seriously, just frickin' grow it out before you guys sell it already. We have covered some of the biggest hot-button issues in the game right now. If you got something out of this episode, do me a solid, subscribe, smash that like button, and hit the bell so you never miss an episode. And if you really want to support what we do here, check out patreon.com/MycoGeeky. It helps keep the lights on and the deep dives coming. Now, we want to hear from you. Should vendors only sell fully stabilized genetics? Or is it fair game to sling those fresh F1s into the wild? How important is it to honor the lineage of a strain? Or is this really just a game of mushroom telephone anyway? Drop a comment, send a message, or join the conversation on my socials. Until next time, stay curious, stay cultivating, and as always, go grow some mushrooms!